English youth international as well, is going to be a good target on that left edge for Chelsea. And as you said, Eric, right from the top, Club World Cup champions a couple of times. And for Western Sydney Wanderers, they won their biggest title back in 2014 when they won the AFC Champions League and played in the Club World Cup as well. No doubt Fitale, their new boss, wanting them to get back to those kind of heights. Goes back. It's a nice little touch away from Kavuma McQueen. Madonna looking to get himself involved in the game early on. Played in Canberra last week against Tigers FC. His first appearance as a Wanderer after making the move from Adelaide United.
And isn't that a big contrast in itself? Playing against an ACT NPL side in the Tigers last week, the Wanderers up against Chelsea FC the next, and they're not going to be overawed by this occasion. They have their own rebuilds to worry about. A lot's been talked about, and rightly so, about Chelsea, but what about the Wanderers? What sort of response from last season are we going to see from moment one here tonight?
There's the captain, Tosin, just put under a bit of pressure. Brandon Borello up top there for Western Sydney. He's going to do a lot of work here early on. As we said off the top, this Chelsea side, only 4 players in their starting 11 played in the Premier League for them last season. So a lot of youngsters eager to impress. And they have been impressing because they won the under-18 Premier League youth title last year, Chelsea, and a number of these players appeared in that side and thumped Manchester City in the final, 5-1. Tayo Subaloi, one of their defenders tonight in 37, you can see there. He was the captain of that side. It's a nice touch from Reggie Watson. And here comes a free kick. Daniel Elder saying no advantage accrued, and Blues will get a free kick.
Yeah, good early signs from both sets of players. The energy's there. Everybody expecting and waiting to see what is this Xabi Alonso side going to be like. Are they going to play that back 3 formation that we saw him play with Leverkusen and going undefeated in that Bundesliga season a couple of years ago?
So again, Chelsea liking this left edge. Watson dropping it all the way back for Tosin. That's an overhit pass and gives us a chance to head downstairs and say a very good evening to Narlene Masto.
Thanks, Benny. Well, there's such a good buzz down here. The atmosphere is building up nicely, and I'm hearing that Xabi Alonso, he wants to keep his main stars fit for the big London derby on the weekend. But in saying that, we could absolutely expect to see the likes of Cole Palmer and João Pedro appear at some stage tonight, as they'll be looking to impress. But this is such a big occasion for the Wanderers, and no one is looking forward to it more than Jared Carluccio, who's had this one circled ever since it was announced 8 months ago. So this is just as special for the players as it is for the spectators here tonight.
Well, here's an early chance here for Western Sydney. What a moment that was for Aidan Hammett to open the scoring.
Well, you don't get many chances like that. That ball just over the top from Cicluna, getting it forward, and he just really scuffed at that opportunity. The keeper was begging to be chipped off his line, Hammond, and he scuffs it across the side. That's a warning sign for Chelsea FC early on.
We know it's a pre-season friendly, but Western Sydney, what a feather in their cap it would be if they can get a result here tonight. Knowing as well, first time Chelsea toured Australia back in 1965 when they were here for an 11-match tour. So it gives you an indication. A lot of these previous 14 matches came that year. Well, they've never been beaten in Australia in those previous 14 matches. And here is an opening for the visitors. Oh, what a strike that is from the new recruit, the Kazakh international, Dastan Satpayev. What a way to introduce yourself to the Chelsea faithful. Scored his first international goal in November last year against Belgium, the youngest goal scorer for his country. Well, you can see why Chelsea signed him.
That's unbelievable. It all started from McQueen playing that forward pass, and what an impact to make for your first game for Chelsea FC. You can see why Chelsea have paid the big bucks for the youngster. Turning 18 in a week or so's time, and look at him explode and get onto that ball. And it's just the power that takes it past Jordan Holmes at the near post. But that's what it takes to play for Chelsea FC. You've got to make a big impact. And what an impact he's made already.
Well, we talk about opportunities on nights like these. Well, there's the first one taken by Satayev. He's been playing in Kazakhstan with Kairat. Now all of a sudden, opportunity knocks here for Western Sydney. He's done well there, Sharman Lowe, to bat it away and out of his 18-yard box. But Western Sydney are coming back with some interest, but Gillian is flagged for offside. And Eric, where Western Sydney blinked via Aidan Hammond, Chelsea made their opportunity count.
Well, they certainly did. And that's the difference in the level sometimes. It's in both 18-yard box, as we always say. And look at that, one chance for Chelsea and one opportunity in front of goal, and it's a world-class finish. Do we expect anything less?
And you expected him to be quality, based on the fact, of course, Chelsea have signed him, but you look at the side he scored against, his first international goal in World Cup qualifiers, so a competitive match, and he scored against Belgium in a 1-1 draw. And we know how deep they went at the World Cup. Some quality opposition.
And he played and scored at the Champions League last season with Karaitz up against Copenhagen. So the quality's there. He's not even turned 18 yet, so there was some sort of talk about him not signing, but he's already signed on the dotted line. That's why he's out there tonight.
To be fair, for Chelsea last season, goal scoring wasn't a massive issue for them. Fifth best goal scoring record in the Premier League. It was defensively, where they were sitting in the bottom half. And for Western Sydney, well, take your pick. I reckon it's both ends of the pitch after what was a really disappointing campaign, but some really bright moments for them on Wednesday night last week in the Australia Cup competition. Here come Chelsea again. Space again out to the left, and that's where Reggie Watson goes. Under real pressure now is Sugo. Thurgate. A toy with him inside his own 18-yard box. He's gifted it back here. Kavuma McQueen. Oh! Jordan Holmes. That is a truly exceptional save.
Well, it's a night with world class on the tongue. And usually we're talking about Chelsea, but Jordan Holmes has played something out of this world there. That's going right into the top corner. Chelsea were probing, and they put that pressure on straight away. Exactly what Xabi Alonso wants. When they lose the ball, try and win it back quickly.
The goalkeeper who's played in the lower leagues in England, Jordan Holmes, not as much opportunity as he has probably liked over the last couple of A-League seasons at Western Sydney. Chance to put himself up in lights. That corner cut off at the near post by Borello. Champong put to the cross back. But the quality of this youthful Chelsea side. What was going on there? Chris Bowling I reckon that is down there. The goalkeeping coach for Western Sydney just engaging in a little bit of banter, was it there, with Dario Asugo?
Well, the scary thing, as you see Satayev getting forward again, he's really up for it tonight, the Kazakh.
Swung across to that left edge. One thing that we are seeing under Ufi Chale is just this press from Western Sydney. They have really squeezed Chelsea in the early stages of this one, and to be honest, if their finishing was more clinical, they probably could have had at least one.
Yeah, speaking with the Western Sydney staff before the game, they're going to be pressing and going for it, but you've got to be very careful up against a side like Chelsea. If you don't get it right, if the timing's not right, it can all go haywire. But just back to Chelsea last season, 28 years old, was the oldest player in the squad. Football is so young these days, and they maybe just need to add a little bit of experience. There's a couple of names being thrown about at the moment as well for Chelsea.
Yeah, Jordan Henderson, one of those, potentially coming across from Brentford. Danny Welbeck as well from Brighton. Comes the press again from Western Sydney. Got to consider as well, there's got to be a bit of jet lag at play for Chelsea, having only recently arrived in the country. Oh, here's a great opportunity, and what a save from Sharman Lowe. Able to push away that strike from Gillian. Thought for a moment it was just going to creep inside that far post, but he got enough on it.
Yeah, some real green shoots at the moment from the Western Sydney Wanderers, doing their own gegenpressing. And that right in the corner there, Teddy Sharman Lowe had to get down low, and it was almost the new man, Liam Gillian, getting off the mark.
22 matches for Bolton Wanderers in League One last season. Sharman Lowe on loan. He's got some football under his belt despite not having made a first-team appearance for Chelsea. This corner is a decent one. Has it crossed the line? Pantazopoulos is claiming it. Referee says goal. So Western Sydney equalise. And it's one of their inspirational leaders in Anthony Pantazopoulos who's claiming the credit.
Now this is a sign that we haven't seen for a long, long time. The Western Sydney Wanderers with a response and getting their crowd right behind them. It was a set-piece routine, and he hung in there, Pantazopoulos, right at the far posts. He's a nuisance inside the box, he really is. It's a great flick on from Brandon Borrello. Set pieces were a trouble and a worry for them last campaign, but Mr. Sydney Wanderers, Anthony Pantazopoulos, right there when you need him to tuck it away. The Wanderers have responded.
And you felt like maybe that was an area they could exploit, the Blues here tonight, especially with an 11 that haven't played together a whole lot. Western Sydney got that 90 minutes under their belt last week. Pantazopoulos, as you said, he is a nuisance. He's a real beast in those kind of situations, and he's absolutely pumped. And I reckon he could well go to another level after that. Look at Western Sydney now. Ferreira finding DiPizio. There's some confidence about the red and black now all of a sudden, after conceding that early goal. This is Cicluna dancing his way down the left, very nearly finding Borrello.
Well, they're finding it hard at the moment. Chelsea, they're stunned a little bit by the intensity shown here from the Western Sydney Wanderers, and also Cicluna getting forward from midfield, adding a different number to that back line and getting forward.
Now it's Hammond. Hammond curling it into the gloves of Sharman Lowe. He's had a couple of sights early doors in this one, Aidan Hammond.
Well, it's the best thing for the game, Ben, because if it stays at 1-1, you're definitely going to be assured of seeing some of the stars getting in a little bit earlier than maybe the coach would have wanted.
How good is this? Western Sydney with the press, really putting Chelsea under some pressure. Just going back through the record books, the last time Chelsea conceded in Australia in a pre-season tour, Eric, was back in May 1965 against the Australian World Cup team in a 1-1 draw. So there you have it. There's some nice footwork and draws the save out of Jordan Holmes. Does Reggie Walsh as Chelsea look to put themselves back in front.
Well, he's the youngest player for Chelsea to feature in the Champions League. And at the time, he was the second youngest Englishman as well to appear in the Champions League. And he just stepped forward there, afforded that space. But you can just see the quality when they're standing in front of goal and they can get their shot away. It's near enough perfect every single time.
Yeah, Jack Wilshere, the only player younger than Reggie Walsh from England to play in the Champions League. That's the kind of quality he's up there with, the teenager, as this corner comes in. What a chance it was. Reggie Watson, that was. The other Reggie in their starting side, he's 16. Reggie Walsh is 17. That nodded over by Tosin, the captain, at the elderly age, Eric, of 28. When you think about this starting side.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. But, you know, you can just see the way that Chelsea have lined up here. And we're trying to see clear indicators of how Alonso wants to set his team up. And it is very much a front half and a back half. Look how many players are in that little spot now to win the second ball, the third ball. They want to try and win it back as quickly as possible and regain possession.
So Delap looking to link up there with Walsh. Western Sydney, though, pinch it back, and they want to move it quickly. Impressive start from the Australian side. Burgate, just into the path of Cicluna. He earns the whistle from Elder. They've won it back here, the Blues, just over here, looking for Delap. He gets that pass right, I reckon it's 2-1.
But how quick is that from Watson? Two other midfielders around him to try and hustle and win that ball back. But the Wanderers, they're not taking a backward step.
Nice one-touch football to Pizio. Oh, a handball is the ruling, and it's unfortunate for the red and black because they were off again.
Well, this is the risk that you take when you go and press teams and really try and overcommit. And it's exactly what the Wanderers are trying to do, but they're too good to play out there.
Subaloy. Watson. Chimpong through Tosin. Sugo. Sampayev, the goal scorer. Manalo is giving it up again. He's looked really sharp, hasn't he? Well, DePizio on return to Western Sydney. He's been at Central Coast Mariners in the A-League most recently, but played his youth football in the west of Sydney. Pantazopoulos and Hammond. You can see Xabi Alonso, bottom left corner of screen. He's been stalking the touchline throughout this match.
Well, you have to remember as well, this team's not been together that long. A lot of young players, a lot of young faces for Xabi Alonso to ponder over, that who can possibly step up and step into that Premier League setup and seriously play minutes. They've got no distraction of European football this season, the third time ever they haven't made it into Europe, sorry.
It's a massive opportunity, isn't it? Especially without that extra glut of European games. No doubt they would want to be playing in those competitions, but the fact they're not really gives Xabi Alonso a wonderful opportunity. But also, I think Chelsea will have to either send the players out on loan or maybe release some players from the squad, because it is quite a large squad of players. Here's Hammond, Letizia. Borrello just peeling wide and looking to place it in the top corner. Missed by much the Western Sydney captain.
Well, there's a lot to like about Aidan Hammond tonight. His mobility is allowing the Wanderers to get forward, and Letizia in the hole. Maybe that was the position they were missing last season in Borrello. I'm not sure he caught that correctly.
Much of it down to that press. Borrello again peeling wide. Ufitale has executed the press at Sydney FC to perfection. Now trying it at Western Sydney. And that final pass just going awry. And this is where Chelsea are having most of their joy at the moment on the counter-attack.
Yeah, well, somebody in a blue shirt or on the bench needs to calm his players down. You can just see they're getting a little bit frustrated, not having the ball. The Wanderers, they know how to play here in Sydney, and they're knocking the ball around, keeping it. But you always know that Chelsea, they got that one chance. That ball goes out to Satpayev, they're in trouble.
Delap. He is outworked there by Pantazopoulos, who drives it forward. Borrello knows he wanted to get it wide, and it was well cut off. Chapong. Kavuma McQueen. Shimmy onto that left. Again, the door is shut by Pantazopoulos. Hasn't he had a wonderful start to this game?
Well, it's something you don't see too often. Two players tackling each other for the ball. This is no pre-season friendly for the Wanderers. And that haircut for Pantazopoulos, he means business.
Hammond. Borrello. Hammond, he gets barreled over here. And Ufitale, he's been relatively quiet to start this one, sitting back on the bench, but he's up and about to the edge of his technical area. You can see bottom of screen. He's pretty content with how things are playing out at the moment. He's an aggressive coach. Likes his teams to play attractive football. We've seen that from Western Sydney to start here tonight.
Yeah, and it's good for Xabi Alonso just to keep taking mental notes of who's able to handle this situation. And football's always like this. It's not always one-way traffic, and I'm sure that these young Chelsea players probably did not expect to be faced with this sort of task. But they've got to find a way. That's why they played the big bucks to play for Chelsea FC. It's finding a way in these sorts of moments.
Letizia again, running back the ball for Western Sydney. Dana with the cross, just too close to Charman Low. Another really good opportunity if he gets that cross right. And Daniel Elder has blown the whistle for a free kick for a foul on Asugo. Chimpong. Josh Chimpong, one of the centre-backs tonight alongside Tosin Subaloi. He's eligible for England, Ireland and Ghana. He's got a few countries knocking on his door. The 20-year-old Cicluna. Trying to make that pass through for Gillian. Thurgate measuring this in behind. He can really measure a pass. Angus Thurgate almost got that spot on.
Yeah, they're really dangerous when they move that ball quickly. And it's great to see that relationship between Letizia and Cicluna. And there's Thurgate, the other midfielder, going out to try and win the ball back. And they just need to be a little bit sharper in transition, Chelsea. Walsh getting caught and Watson getting caught in possession at times. It's just, I think in terms of the pressure.
All of a sudden, Thurgate did get his toe to it, but it just skewed off to the side. Oh, Sharman Lowe would have had his heart in his mouth there for a moment, but all of a sudden it allows Chelsea here to find Satpayev. He's already shown us what he can do from a tight angle. In the opening 10 minutes of this one, that's a lazy pass, really. And Western Sydney almost able to escape, but Subaloy, Chumpok. Watson, Tosin. 28 appearances for Tosin last year across all competitions, just the 16 starts though. The former Manchester City man, and just sold themselves into a bit more trouble here, the Blues. But again, they find a path to Delap. As Pantazopoulos backpedaling, tight angle for Delap. And Pantazopoulos did enough just to put off the Englishman.
Dustin Satpayev again, finding those little pockets of space when the Wanderers are all too busy watching the ball and pressing. And it's all a little bit individual at the moment for Chelsea. Delap getting forward, and Jordan Holmes saw that all the way. But that's what they've been reduced to, getting one play. A little bit individual at the moment for Chelsea. Delap getting forward, and Jordan Holmes saw that all the way. But that's what they've been reduced to, getting one player forward and trying to isolate somebody from the Wanderers.
Well, it's been a really enjoyable first 28 minutes here at Accor Stadium in Sydney. First match of the Sydney Super Cup. Sydney FC take on Tottenham tomorrow at Allianz Stadium. For Chelsea play Tottenham on Saturday here at Accor Stadium. Not many tickets left for that one, so if you want to see two of the Titans of England do battle, have your tickets now, because it's going to be a wonderful evening of football on Saturday night.
Impressive yet again from Hammond. On the right side last year, on the left tonight.
So Gillian, no one really pressuring him initially. A couple of step overs from Liam Gillian, takes on the strike. Now Cicluna did score his only A-League goal from distance and couldn't repeat the dose there.
Yeah, really positive signs from the Wanderers. And, you know, for A-League fans or non-A-League fans that haven't been watching, this is a complete different shift from what we saw from the Red and Black last season. Xabi Alonso's up and about, and you wonder what's going to happen at half-time, if he's going to look to his bench already. I'm sure we'll see a lot of subs in the second part of the game.
Cicluna has been strong to start this match, as you'd expect from Dylan Cicluna. One of the real bright young prospects in the A-League. Building a real foundation for himself to venture overseas at some stage. So going to get enough of a nudge there from Hammond. Here goes Walsh. Kavuma McQueen, 17-year-old, back to the 16-year-old Reggie Watson. So I said Tosin's the oldest player out there at the moment on the ball here, 28. The second oldest is goalkeeper Teddy Sharman Lowe at 23 and Liam Delap at 23. Very youthful starting 11 to begin this one. Here's some nice work down the left again. Satpayev at the heart of another Chelsea opportunity.
Well, he's definitely up for it tonight. The Kazakh international stepping in from the flank, and perhaps needs to maybe engage with his teammates a little bit more. We've seen that from Chelsea so far. Once they get to that final third or the 18-yard box, they're just taking it themselves. Maybe there's an extra pass in there. And that cohesion of not playing together that regularly or at all is maybe the reason we've not seen any good chances so far, apart from the goal.
So this Chelsea's third match of the pre-season, the first two behind closed doors. 3-1 win over Crawley Town, 3-0 over Bromley. This is the first time that Chelsea fans have been able to take in the Xabi Alonso era. As we touched on that terrific spell at Bayer Leverkusen. We won the Bundesliga, and then a tough stint last season at Real Madrid, as the guys said in the pre-game show. Rule that one out. A lot of politics goes on there. Here's Hammond with a chance. Oh, all of a sudden, Western Sydney have taken the lead, and it's one of their best in Aidan Hammond, who strikes a real blow.
Oh, he's loving life tonight. Ufuk Talay, what a response for the red and black of Western Sydney. Aidan Hammond has been on fire to start this game. We see him get forward, and it's just about engaging with his teammates left and right, and it's a beautiful little touch there to go past, and then just the presence of mind to look at the goalkeeper and see that that option is on. Hard and low at the near post, side-footed into the corner. Hammond, that's a huge goal for Western Sydney Wanderers. They deserve the lead.
Well, he missed that opportunity early on, but he was not turning away a second invitation. Aidan Hammond. Western Sydney lead 2-1. Eric Tartalou, we said from the start, this is a really good opportunity for Western Sydney up against a very much inexperienced Chelsea lineup. There's only 4 players in this starting 11 who played in the Premier League last season. A lot of youngsters, a lot of teenagers, and they've taken advantage.
Well, Xabi Alonso said in his press conference.
Oh, maybe there's another one. Hammond. And Sherman Lowe has to dive down and make the save. Now it's Thurgate's strike. This should be a corner for Western Sydney. Well,
Brandon Borello is going absolutely berserk because Miggy DePizio, he could have played him in here. Watch this, Aidan Hammond, right there, he's open across the front of the face of goal. And they're just getting stuck trying to play out.
DePizio on the set-piece duty. Remember what happened earlier from the set-piece? Pantazopoulos scored Western Sydney's equaliser. They are bouncing here, Wanderers. And with the superstars on the bench, they're saying, come and get us. DePizio. Now Thurgate drops it back for DePizio. Just can't find that crossing angle. Thurgate. Kluna, dink over the top. Borello's offside though.
Well, Xabi Alonso hinted at it last night at his press conference, saying that the team that's starting now obviously won't be the team that finishes in May, and the team in May will be much better in terms of their preparation and their way of going forward. But this is not a great step forward for them.
Hammond and Gillian. How are they feeling at the moment? The Blues. This stage, Xabi Alonso to go to his bench yet. That all planned out, but maybe this wasn't in the plans. Here's a I'm not even going to worry about.
It was a shot. It was a shot.
Like surely we can love to have a little chat. It's Ferreira. Just thought I might see if I can have a little dash with Sharman Lowe off his line.
You've got to love the intensity. You've got to love that Chelsea have come here on their pre-season trip for a friendly against the Western Sydney Wanderers. It's been anything but. And it's been great viewing. And it's going to take a great response, to be honest, from Chelsea to get back into this game.
Well, Pantazopoulos, he is the barometer, isn't he, for Western Sydney? Just about to take this free kick. He's up and about after scoring that equaliser. Now he delivers this pass to Madana, who drives for the byline, scoops it back. Gillian's header. Now, I don't think that crossed the byline. The assistant's flag didn't go up.
You can just hear the fans. And now the plan B for Chelsea. I think they have now decided that we're not going to fight fire with fire and try and play out from the back. Madana speeds forward. The new signing, it looked as though that it went past the line. No VAR tonight.
Well, is that a massive win for Ufi Talay and his Western Sydney Wanderers? The fact that Chelsea say, well, hang on a second. Oh, Gillian just coming on the blind side there. Vachimpong just got a toe in the nick of time. The fact that Chelsea say, well, we're going to play long, we're not going to play it out from the back, it's not going to change the situation, because here come Western Sydney again. Brandon Borello with a chance, and the chances keep stacking up here for the red and black. And Satpayev peel wide here up against Madana. Oh, that's lovely football. There's the equaliser. Dario Asugo, one of the men in this starting side who played in the Premier League last season. The Portuguese youth international gets us back all square.
It does not take much from the Chelsea side to switch and change gears, and that's the difference. As we see them go from coast to coast again, involving Satpayev, who's been on fire again, getting the ball out wide and just waiting for the right moment, a neat 1-2, and then bang, an early finish into the corner from Asugo. It's really slick football from Chelsea. The response, exactly what they needed. It was electrifying, the movement there, and the finish even better from Asugo.
So back to 2-2, 7 minutes before the break. Entertainment Plus here in the Sydney Super Cup tonight at Accor Stadium. Chelsea taking the lead through Satpayev inside the opening 10. Western Sydney equalising through Pantazopoulos before Aiden Hammond put them ahead. Now Dario Asugo equalises for the Blues. How do Western Sydney respond to that? Well, this is where they are at their most dangerous. The speed in transition here. Delap in a one-on-one situation versus the Argentine Ferreira. Tight angle, and Holmes has to make himself big.
Well, no signs of that thigh injury from Dario Asugo from last season. Just bursting forward and attracts at least 3 Wanderers defenders. Delap, he's been in this position before. Jordan Holmes just put a big right arm out and said, not today, not now.
You can hear the fans in the stands here. They're screaming out to some of the big names who are on the bench for Chelsea tonight. And here we go. Even in these friendly matches, Daniel Odery's going to come forward. The conversation. I'm sure there's nothing untoward going on in there. They probably continue at the same rate. Bit of push and shove, bit of grabbing. Here comes the corner to the back post, and a bit of purchase on that from Subaloy. Western Sydney get the clearance away.
Well, I don't think we saw 4 goals coming in this first 40 minutes or so. I'm not sure we saw 4 coming from both sides. I think a lot of people would have thought Chelsea would have walked over this first 45 minutes or so, and they've had their moments, and you can tell when they do get that little half moment, they're so dangerous, and they'll make you pay. If you go and press and there's space in behind, there's always an opportunity.
Be interested to see as well at half-time. We're pretty much expecting Chelsea to make some changes. I wonder whether Western Sydney will remain with this starting 11. Just the one change from their Australia Cup match on Wednesday, with Holmes coming into goalkeeping role ahead of Vidakovic. Outside of that, all outfield players remaining the same. Marlowe. Finding Satpayev. He's giving Madonna some trouble, but he's held up his end of the bargain. Western Sydney right fullback.
Yeah, it's a great test. What a great occasion it is for these Western Sydney Wanderers players to pit themselves against some of the best young players in the competition. Looks as though Germán Ferreira has a back issue, possibly in that little tussle with Liam Delap before.
Well, you hope he's all right. I won't want to take any risks here, Western Sydney, especially considering he is the man that can really add some steel to their back line. That experience to go with the energy of Pantazopoulos, 23-year-old, partnered with the 30-year-old Argentine. So the corner, Tosin with a free header. My goodness. What a chance for the Chelsea captain. It does not get better than that.
Well, the delivery's outstanding. How good is that ball to the far post? It's not looped, it's not cut, it's just whipped. And he's right there, the big man. Just slipped off that forehead of his. And he knows he should have scored that one.
So, Germán Ferreira. Now, does he just indicate maybe he got a little elbow there? So while he gets some treatment, Xabi Alonso has a chance here just to call his side in. What do you think he'll be saying to them?
Just keep calm. You know, it's explosive out there, and I think some of the principles that he wants to instill in his side, which is keeping the ball under pressure, allowing the press to come, and drawing in a couple of teammates to try and play around that press. When it's come off for them, they've actually gone and counter-attacked really strongly. And I think they can keep their width a little bit more as well. Satpayev is getting the ball. It looks dangerous on the outside, but it's about keeping calm. This is match number 1 for Xabi Alonso.
So this would be a loss for Western Sydney if Ferreira is forced off. And they will have a last 16 clash in the Cup on the way in the coming weeks, so I want him fit for that. And it looks as though it will be Nathan Barry who is going to replace him, the 20-year-old Seaforth youth product who's come up through the Western Sydney ranks. Youth product with the national side as well. So he'll be absolutely over the moon to get this opportunity. Just the 8 appearances in the A-League, the national competition here in Australia. So Nathan Barry replaces Germán Ferreira. So big test now for the Western Sydney backline. Western Sydney, can they push their noses in front right on the stroke of half-time? Gillian just looked a little bit tired there from Western Sydney. Look at Cicluna keeping pace. Oh, he's done so well there. Classy work.
He really is one of those players that, you know, is so graceful, stepping forward. Okay, commentators curse, but these are the games for young players that can attract overseas clubs, not just Chelsea, but if you can do it against Chelsea, people start to take notice. And Cicluna had that ACL injury, had his comeback season last year. This one's going to be really important for him. He could force a move overseas if he wants to in the coming months to the coming season.
Well, he is a player who had a trial at Aston Villa. He also played in the Wolves youth sides before returning back to Australia, Cicluna, so spent some time in that English academy system, which a number of these Blues players on the field have been in and are currently in, as Daniel Elder